Hi there, story lover. Welcome to the final episode of Freedom State. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 of Freedom State, please do watch them to understand the context of the story. Thank you and enjoy. Chapter 6. Zach was trembling last night, trying to cook up a plausible excuse to get the bomb expert out of the bomb cave long enough to plant cameras and listening devices. He had come up with an excuse to be at the bomb cave. He requested photos of recompense and a statement from the bomb expert to excite the citizens. Mr. President approved and thankfully couldn't grace Zach with his presence. Now that he knew the enemy couldn't be bombed due to their advanced bomb detector technology, he tossed and turned all night, haunted by Mr. President's true plan. The next morning, Zach arrives at the bomb cave. Everything goes smoother than expected. The bomb expert is distracted, working on a malfunctioning electrical system on the other side of the building. "You can start setting up while I fix this," the expert says before leaving the room. "Sure thing, sir," Zach replies, hiding his nerves as he lays down his camera equipment. The moment the expert leaves, Zach springs into action. He plants the cameras and listening devices that Paul had stashed away in his study, positioning them in spots where they'd go unnoticed. He barely finishes just as the power is restored and the bomb expert returns. The interview is brief. Zach gets the shots he needs, wraps up, and hurries out. Phew, he sighs with relief once he's outside, though the weight of what he has just done still sits heavily on his chest. Back at home, Zach cannot keep the secret any longer. His wife, Diana, has been asking him for days if he is okay. He is not. He feels like the ground beneath him has fallen away. Everything he once believed shattered in an instant. His president, his country, his job, his entire life has been a lie. Freedom State isn't free. It is trapped under the iron grip of a madman. He has been complicit, helping Mr. President brainwash the entire nation. It sickened him to his core. Zach prided himself on being a man of integrity, someone who fought for the truth. Truth equals freedom. That is his creed. Now, with Paul's revelations, he finally sees the chance to make things right, to free his people from the poisonous lies they have been fed. The truth will set them free. It will. "Zach, honey, are you sure you're alright?" Diana's voice breaks through his thoughts. He looks up at her, struggling to hold back tears. "No, I'm not," he begins, his voice cracking. But then, a chilling thought crosses his mind. Why didn't Paul tell his wife? Diana smiles softly, sitting beside him and taking his hands into hers. "You can't fool me, Zach. I know when something's wrong. We are on the same team. Talk to me." Zach takes a deep breath. "Mr. President is an evil man," he says. Diana's face flushes with anger as she slowly releases his hands. "What are you talking about?" she demands, her voice hardening. Zach hesitates, his heart pounding. Paul, he found clips, video clips, news broadcasts from the enemy. Diana cuts him off with a sharp gesture. "The enemy? Paul was in contact with the enemy? I don't understand," she says, her confusion quickly turning into disbelief. Zach stands up, his voice rising. "Mr. President lied to all of us, Diana. He's not the hero we thought he was. He's been deceiving us, using us to push his agenda." But Diana isn't listening. She shakes her head violently as if trying to dislodge something from her mind. Without another word, she leaves the room, leaving Zach standing there, his words hanging in the air like a knife. Zach is unsure of what to do next. He knows this is a lot for her to process. She idolizes Mr. President. There isn't a day that goes by without her singing his praises. He decides to let her cool off. Then later, he'll show her the videos Paul left behind. She'll understand. But 10 minutes later, the sound of vehicles pulling up outside his home shatter his thoughts. Zach looks outside the window and sees a cuckoo clinic van along with 2 police cars parking in front of his house. His stomach drops. Diana walks back in, flanked by 2 police officers. "I'm sorry, Zach," she says, her voice icy, "but you need to go get your brain checked out." Zach's heart races. "Wait, what? You're getting your husband arrested?" he asks, his voice laced with disbelief. Diana doesn't respond. She just walks out of the room again, leaving him standing there, stunned. The police move in and escort Zach out of his home. They lead him to the waiting cuckoo clinic van. Diana had called them, claiming her husband had been saying crazy things about the president, things that weren't like him. Zach's mind spins as he is driven away, the betrayal cutting deeper than any lie Mr. President has ever told. Chapter 7. The big day has arrived. Recompense is finally here. Mr. President can barely contain his excitement as he steps out of his black Range Rover. Though a pang of longing hits him, his beloved wife should have been by his side. Instead, he walks alone into the bomb basement, greeted by the flashing cameras. The tough cameramen are already in position, capturing every angle of the man of the hour. As Mr. President surveys the scene, his face beaming with pride, the bomb expert rushes toward him. His expression immediately betrays bad news, but before he can speak, Mr. President grips him firmly by the arm, his smile unwavering. "Smile for the camera," he whispers through clenched teeth. "Mr. President, we need to talk," the bomb expert says nervously, his voice shaking. "Fine," Mr. President replies, his patience thinning. "Let's talk in your office." Inside the office, the bomb expert stumbles through his words, trying to explain that recompense cannot be launched today. The issue: global internet access is needed to pinpoint the exact coordinates for the intended targets. Specific coordinates are required, and the bomb cannot be launched without them. But Mr. President isn't listening. He waves off the explanation as nonsense, his mind already set. To him, this is just more pointless babble. His agitation grows with every second the man keeps talking. When the bomb expert pulls out a map to demonstrate, Mr. President stands abruptly and storms out, leaving the man mid-sentence. "Is the camera rolling?" Mr. President barks as he re-entered the room. He forces a smile. "Our bomb expert will lead us to the launch of recompense shortly." The bomb expert emerges from his office, pale and drenched in sweat, wiping his face nervously. "Mr. President, recompense is not ready for—" "Lead the way, sir," Mr. President cuts him off, his voice sharp with impatience. He isn't about to let some trembling man spoil his moment. The bomb expert, knowing full well the danger ahead, reluctantly instructs his team to move recompense into the field. The team exchange uneasy glances, but no one dares to speak up. One technician looks ready to object, but before he can utter a word, Mr. President snaps, "Come on, gentlemen, make it snappy. We don't have all day." Under the pressure of Mr. President's glaring eyes, the team obeys. Recompense is now in place, awaiting its final steps. The last step is to enter the coordinates for the bomb's targets, but the bomb team hesitates, unsure of what to do. Mr. President, brimming with frustration, shoves the technicians aside and stands over the computer. "This is bloody simple," he barks. "We want this bomb to hit somewhere in the south." Without a second thought, he selects a general southern direction and punches in random large numbers, convinced it will send the bomb far enough away. "Mr. President, wait!" the bomb expert shouts, his voice cracking with panic. But it is too late. With a single reckless press of the button, recompense launches into the air with a high-pitched shwee! For a brief moment, everything is still. Then, the ground shakes violently beneath their feet. Boom! Everyone freezes, their faces draining of color. The rumbling that follows isn't from a far-off explosion. It is too close, far too close. They all knew the horrifying truth immediately. The bomb did not land in some distant southern land. It had detonated in the southern region of their beloved Freedom State. The shockwave hit them all at once, the terrible reality settling in. Mr. President's grin falters, and for the first time, fear flickers in his eyes. Hi there, story lover. Thank you for watching the final episode of Freedom State. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. Thank you.